So what are they going to do? Well, Jim Caviezel has revealed it. He said it's going to be the action of Christ, the mystical, metaphysical action of the soul of Christ. When he dies on the cross, his soul descends into what we say in Hebrew is Sheol. In Latin, we say the limbus or limbo of the fathers. This is the abode of the dead. This confuses a lot of people because they think the word hell, H-E double hockey stick, is where demons, Satan, and all the damned are. And we as Catholic Christians, and Mel Gibson is a Catholic, we actually believe that hell has 4 abodes or 4 sections. The short version is there is the limbus patrum, also known as Abraham's bosom. It's the section of hell that's on the limb, on the outer edge, where the Old Testament righteous, Adam and Eve, Moses, David, Esther, Judith, John the Baptist, they went to this, in a way, paradise that was located in Sheol, in hell, in the underworld. They waited there until Christ died on the cross, opened the gates of heaven, and then he escorted them into the beatific vision. So we are going to see the harrowing of hell. That is Christ descending as a victor, announcing his victory over Satan and death and hell, rescuing the Old Testament faithful and righteous, bringing them to heaven, and perhaps a flashback in this whole scene of the fall of Satan, the fall of Lucifer becoming Satan, and a third of the good angels becoming evil angels. Our Lord Jesus Christ talks about in a parable how there's the rich man and Lazarus, and they both die. The rich man is in fire. He's in torment. He's divided by a great chasm from Lazarus, who's a good man. Lazarus didn't go to heaven because heaven wasn't open yet. Jesus hadn't died on the cross yet. So Lazarus also goes down into the netherworld. He's in hell, but he has water. He has comfort. He's in a different part of hell. This is how we know that hell has different abodes or compartments, because Christ himself teaches it to us. It's very sophisticated theology. So Christ will descend into the abode of the dead, the righteous dead, the limbus patrum, the limbo of the fathers, Abraham's bosom. He proclaims the eternal gospel. They accept it. They receive the grace of regeneration. St. Thomas Aquinas says the grace that we receive in baptism of regeneration, that the Old Testament faithful, they received that same grace when Christ descended into hell. This is why St. Paul says that when you are baptized into Christ, you are baptized into his death and resurrection. That's what St. Paul says. Well, the Old Testament saints like Adam and Eve and David and Solomon, maybe Solomon was kind of a rough guy. But Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Hosea, Elisha, Elias, that when Christ descended in that moment, the grace of baptism, the death and the resurrection of Christ was shown upon them, given to them. They received the power of what we call baptism. That's Thomas Aquinas. Sophisticated, good theology. Then you've got heresy taught by Balthazar, Nouvelle Théologie, 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s theology, that Christ ascended to the realm of the dead, to the damned, and he had solidarity with the damned. And therefore, dare we hope that all men will be saved. This is total rubbish. If you've ingested this bad, liberal, post-Vatican II theology, you need to not just stop eating it, you need to vomit it up and get it out of your system. It's wrong. Christ did not descend into hell and suffer. He did not join himself with the damned. This is heresy. We have to get rid of this in the church. It's horrible. And I think Mel Gibson, as a traditionally minded Catholic, is not going to go there. So we'll see Christ descend in his beauty, his honor, his triumph. Lift up your heads, O gates, that the King of glory may enter. And then we will see the resurrection from the point of view of the spiritual, the metaphysical, the mystical.